I basically just gave up on faith.
I was sexually abused.
The wheels fell off.
I pulled my eyelashes out.
Cocaine and ecstasy.
If you tell, I will hurt you or your family.
Take a gun and my life.
Bottle of pills. Be done with all this.
He said, "What's the problem?" "I'm in a lot of trouble and I need your help." I would say peculiar. In some ways. She jokingly says quite a bit that we're not your average pastor's family. For us, we're about celebrating the life that Christ has given us.
We're also very flexible. When you have a 20, a 17, and a 4-year-old, you have to remain flexible. Lots of moving parts. Fun, adventurous, never a dull moment.
We're not necessarily about rules and regulations, although there is discipline. I mean, hear us on that. Our kids will attest to that. But we're really just kind of a little bit more free-spirited in the way that we approach life. A lot of fun, a lot of fun.
Our firstborn, Grayson, he's about to be 20. He's a sophomore in college. One word to describe him would be...
It's impossible to describe him in one word.
That's so
I
true.
mean, straight up. He's a young man of character, definitely character.
He is what I would call an influencer.
He's always about wanting everybody to feel included. He's the guy on the dorm floor that had everybody as their friend. They would all stop by his place. So that's a great thing, because that just wasn't me growing up.
So many words that I could choose from. Probably protecting. He always protects me no matter where or what I'm doing. Definitely crazy, but also funny. And maybe like loving. He always has a heart for other people and he's always looking out for others.
We play games. I really miss him when he's in college.
Majoring in business finance, and then minoring in Spanish. Got into their naval ROTC program.
He's given his life to that and signed on the dotted line, and he's serious about his country and he's serious about the Navy.
My sisters.
Snuggle up with Bella.
Bella, she's our middle child.
Strong-willed.
She is a very secure, steadfast individual.
She is 16, about to be 17. Steadfast. She is strong.
Powerful in terms of emotional power as well as speaking. She's a goalkeeper, so that power can also be transformed into physical aspect of what she does.
She knows exactly what she needs, and she is committed to do whatever is necessary to accomplish that.
She loves to film, she loves to vlog. She'll kill me if I say blog. She loves teaching kids, and she's just good with children.
I would be the girl wearing boy shorts and the girls be wearing dresses playing with their dolls, and I would be the ones on the football field playing with the guys. And honestly, that hasn't changed. I still do it, and I just learned to love it, and I just learned to, you know what, the girls are gonna go over there and do whatever they want, and they're gonna have fun. Well, I can have fun my own way. Realizing when I got older that I didn't need to pretend that I was like the perfect little girl or, you know, the perfect princess. I could, you know, be who I wanted to be and go right on out of the soccer field, go get dirty, do softball, baseball, football, flag football, and just play whatever I want to play.
Michaela, 4-year-old, I'd say her middle name's Joy, and it's definitely joyful.
She's a joy to all of us.
Definitely full of joy.
She's a party in a box.
That's about right.
Michaela is also brave, and she is courageous. She's always out doing something adventurous.
She's very smart, intelligent.
She also has a heart for others and is always loving her friends.
I like to do homework and write words and do cards, watch videos, eat lunch, do stuff that my family wants to do. And I like doing stuff that makes me happy.
Some people say when you have a little one like that it keeps you young. It keeps you tired, really, is what it keeps you.
That's
it
the
keeps
truth.
you tired
It does.
all the time.
It does.
But it's so worth it. And so the three of them working together is pretty special for us. Grew up in a family in Minnesota. Parents are still married after now 55 years. Leave It to Beaver household. It was perfect. Everything about it was perfect.
Life was like a princess fairy tale story with two older brothers, hardworking parents, both worked. And I was the baby, the princess, lots of coddling and taking care of, and life was great.
I grew up trying to be perfect in a lot of different ways. I grew up thinking about perfection from the perspective of perfect student, perfect athlete, perfect son. Grade school up into junior high, all the way up into high school, I kept this image of perfection.
Went to church every Sunday and prayed the rosary and did all that. Didn't really understand having a relationship with the Lord at that point, but I knew that being in church was important. Being with your family in church was important.
Faith for me was something all throughout my younger life that existed from the perspective of a God who wears a long black robe, has a beard, and the gavel in his hand, and he's just waiting for you to mess up. I basically just gave up on faith.
It was about at the age of, I think, 7, 8, 9, where I was sexually abused. And I kept that to myself for a very, very long time. Didn't know who to tell, didn't know how to tell. And of course, the perpetrator stated, if you tell someone, I will hurt you or your mother or your family.
After a really long day, laid down and recognized I didn't do a perfect day. I just checked out. I stopped trying to be perfect. So began my life of addiction.
The way I did learn how to deal with it, unfortunately, it would be considered what cutting is today, but I pulled my eyelashes out. My mother didn't understand why. I used to get spankings for pulling my eyelashes out.
On the surface, I was the yuppie, good student athlete, but on the weekends, I was something completely different. Started with alcohol, drinking on weekends primarily, smoking marijuana on occasion.
I learned how to deal with this pain. Pride came into my life, perfectionism came into my life, and performance. I'd stopped going to church by the time I was in high school. I had my first time boyfriend, became sexually active in that relationship.
The wheels fell off, basically. I got involved with cocaine and ecstasy, destroyed my college career, had to drop out of school. My dad called me up and he said, "Are you doing okay?" And I got really honest and I said, "Dad, I'm not doing very well." And he said, "What?" He said, "What's the problem?" And I said, "Dad, I'm in a lot of trouble and I need your help."
If I perform, then no one else will see what's really going on, or if I'm okay that way, then you won't see how hurt I've been. I was always the captain of cheerleading. I was always the captain of softball. I was captain of volleyball. Captain.
And I went through drug treatment. I was still unwilling to get completely honest about my life. About 2 weeks later, gotten a DUI, went back into the same treatment facility. The second time through, it stuck for about 1.5 years, but it was me white-knuckling the sobriety. And then a Thursday afternoon, I went out with a friend of mine, and at that moment, I knew I was going to drink. And sure enough, and so began the process of me going back out into the world.
After college, I was either going to go be a flight attendant, or I was going to teach, or I was going to work at Neiman Marcus as an assistant manager. Well, I took the job with Neiman's because it was the highest paying. That led me onto a career in the retail luxury world.
Got involved in fitness, got involved in exercise in order to be perfect. And that's really kind of how I earned my living, was a fitness expert. And I taught group fitness, otherwise known as aerobics. And I know I'm dating myself tremendously when I say that, and managed to travel the world.
When I was about 25, 26, a man, CEO of a company, really pursued me into being a sales representative for his company. During the opening of a store, he asked me to meet him for dinner. He asked me to come to his room first for a cocktail. I said, no, thank you. Went to dinner. On my way home from dinner, we were walking back to the hotel, and he attempted to kiss me. There was so much shame, because as a child, you think, was that my fault? Did I do that? Is there something wrong with me? Now you're really looking and saying, maybe it is me. Maybe I'm putting off a vibe. It happened again at 26, so there must be something there's something wrong with me. What do I do? I mean, that's my whole career. So do you say something or do you shove it under the rug? Which at that point, I was wearing my cowboy boots, and I reared back and hit him in the knee as hard as I could. And I think I hurt him, stunned him. Of course, we had done the show, and then I went home, and it was Memorial Day. And on Tuesday morning after Memorial Day, I got a phone call that I was fired. You've got to understand, this is 1996. There was a Me Too movement at that time. And lo and behold, this had happened to other women.
Whatever the world tells you you should be, that's what I wanted to be. I'm fit, I'm making good money, I'm traveling the world.
We had this witness. It had happened to her as well. She decided she didn't want to say anything. She didn't want to ruffle any feathers. I gave up. I went to a psychologist. I couldn't stop crying. She gave me sleeping pills.
A woman who I'd never met approached me and she said, Michael, are you happy? And I looked at her and I said, no, I'm really not happy.
I was like, it would just probably be best if I just took that whole bottle of pills and just be done with all this.
And she said, well, I can't promise you happiness, but I have some information I want to share with you about how to be content and have peace. And I said, well, yeah, I'd like to hear that. And so she shared the message of salvation with me, the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ, that if you put your faith in Christ, there's hope, and he forgives you of your sin. And she said, is that something you'd like to do? And in my pride and arrogance, I said, no, I'm going to think about it for a while.
I remember sitting by my bed, and I knelt down. I said, okay, Lord, if you are real, then I need to know. I'm desperate. I need a sign. Before I could get up from my knees, the phone rang. And it was my lawyer. He said, well, I had a private investigator in New York do some work. We have it all. He's settling. It's over.
It was all about what I could do, what I could manufacture, where I could go, what I could say. So it's all about me doing things in order to earn your favor, man's favor. But I don't have to do anything to earn God's favor. That was something that for me was confusing.
Mind you, I was not a Christian at this point, but I was seeking. I was attending a singles Bible study. And they said, so, Cristina, if you were to die tonight, would you go to heaven? I think so. Do you know for sure? I'm like, no, not really.
I went out on a cocaine bender, 3 days of being up, and life was in the pit, to the point where I made a decision and I had this conscious thought, the life I'm living is no longer going to exist tomorrow. My idea was to take a gun and end my life.
And they gave me the gospel, and they said, you can know for sure today and never, ever worry again that you will step foot in heaven and be with your Creator. And I was like, how can I do that?
10:30 at night, in a nice condo, in a nice part of town, and I'm sitting there with a loaded gun. And that woman's words, there's forgiveness in Christ. There's forgiveness in Christ. Over and over and over, those words continued in my head until I reached a point where I accepted that. And I laid the gun down, and I was by myself, and I turned around, I knelt down, and I said, Jesus, I don't know you, I know you can forgive me, and I need help.
And they led me through a prayer. I had a visual of him literally taking all that shame and that pain to the cross and removing it off my shoulders. It was like 1,000 pounds was gone immediately. I remember that day, even the next morning, waking up, feeling like I was free.
And that was my salvation prayer. I need help, is all I said to him. And something changed. At that moment, I really believe that I was born again.
The perpetrator came back into my life the night of the rehearsal dinner.
Life was different, but I still had my secret.
The enemy came in and tried to attack.
Satan had me, the demons had me. I couldn't stop. Graduated from cocaine into meth.
I was scared.
Go immediately to the emergency room now.
People need people no matter what you're doing or where you are.
The only way out is through.
God's presence in your life is everything.
God is love, and love comes from God. In 1 John, the Bible tells us that God is not only all-loving, but that He actually is love itself. The heart of the Parent Compass television show is to bring the transforming love of God to families everywhere. In every Parent Compass episode, true stories reveal family struggles and how their lives were radically changed by the love of God. Parent Compass, an award-winning television series, is completely funded by people like you. If you have been touched by God and you want to share God's love to others, would you please pass it on? Jesus tells us to go into all the world and to tell about Him. With your donation, you allow us to take this television show into many different nations and in many different languages, free of charge. And a portion of your donation goes to Parent Compass Outreach to feed starving children. Your gift does so much. To make your tax-deductible gift, go to parentcompass.tv/donate. That's parentcompass.tv/donate. And thank you for sending love and hope around the world.